So basically, to make this whole thing work, we need to modify the stock TCU in the 8HP70 gearbox so it can talk with the Turbolamik controller, which sits right here. And to do that, basically the first step you need to do is remove the oil pan with a few screws here and take some kitchen roll and stuff because it's gonna be really messy. And afterwards, you will see the mechatronics unit, which looks like this. Also, there's gonna be this thing with the plastics on top. Already disassembled it, but this sits on top of here. And to remove the mechatronics, there are a few screws that hold it in place, and they're next to other ones. But the screws you need to remove are physically bigger, and they're all the same size. And you have 4 shorter ones, they're also the same size. And then you need to pull a lever which sits on this plastic. You need to pull it upwards. It basically sits like this. And you see it here. And you need to pull it upwards so you can, I think, to disengage the plug. And then you can take the whole thing out. And to remove the plastics from the mechatronics, there are 5 screws, but there are smaller ones. And after you take them out, you basically get these 2 things connected. And this sits on top of this. And to remove this thing, you need to Dremel out this hole, and these 2 holes down there. And then there are a few clips holding it in place, but it's super easy to remove this, so it's not an issue at all. And then you're left with this part. And here, you need to Dremel off the heatsink. There's a heatsink on top of it. But you need to be super careful to not damage any of these pins here. So really be careful to not damage them, because you can run into issues later down the line. And there are also wires that connect to the individual pins. And just take a really sharp razor blade and cut the wires off. Clean everything of that. And after you cleaned, you can basically take the PCB from DomiWorks, put it in. It sits super nicely. There's almost no play at all. And you clean it, solder it up, every connector. And then you take special silicone grease. DomiWorks states on the website which one to use. And you put on top the heatsink. And then you're done with the modification. You put the plastics back together, put it on the mechatronics, and then put the mechatronics back into the transmission. And the transmission is then good to go. You can already put it in your car, and it's really not a hard job at all. So just take your time, be careful, really to not damage any of these pins, and take your time soldering. It needs to be a good connection, because to access it afterwards, it's gonna be a hassle with all of that. So just take your time. It's not gonna be that difficult. And this is what it looks like soldered in. All the connectors are good. There are no short circuits. Tested them, all of them, with a multimeter. Looks really good. I didn't do it myself because I didn't want to mess it up. And if I mess it up, I will blame myself for a long time for that. And it would be a hassle to get out. So I let someone do it for me, like a company. And if they mess it up, at least I have someone to blame. And yeah, it looks good. Next thing is the silicone that gets on top of that. And then already the heatsink, which is here. And then we can reassemble the transmission. So progress update. I rebuilt the mechatronics. Everything is already screwed in. I did the sealant with the Loctite 5980 and sealed the cover, the DomiWorks cover. And an important note, if you're gonna use the DomiWorks cover, you need to Dremel or file out excess material here, 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 and here, because the new cover is a little bit bigger. And I don't know if you can see it, but I needed to Dremel out this bit here. Oh, there's a gap, but it doesn't really matter. But still, it will not fit if you don't do that. So if you're gonna use the DomiWorks cover, do that, and the next step is gonna be to mount it in the gearbox, and then it's already done.